How do you differentiate between members and communication with limited resources? Like ideally, yes, you could do all of this with different channels, different messages. But if you have limited resources, like a lot of the associations, how do you do this properly? Is there a way?
I can just jump in and give you kind of a simple answer. And my simple answer is try it and see what works best. I know that that tends to be a little bit time intensive because you don't really get responses right off the bat. Like if you put out some outreach today, some people are going to be, some people might join, but a number of people may need a second or a third communication or a second and third piece of contact before they actually join. But what I would say is test. I think that especially, and I don't want this to sound negative, but I feel like sometimes just because of lack of resources, smaller staff associations don't have the staff or they don't have the finances or the dollars to be able to do a lot of testing. So testing kind of goes by the side. They do the one thing that they're going to do, and if it works, fantastic. If it fails, then they're in trouble because they've got nothing else. But the way to really figure out how to maximize your communications and to maximize your outreach is to compare and contrast and to put different techniques up against each other and see which one works best, and then do more of that in the future. And so that will really help you optimize what you're doing. You've got to keep testing. It's not a one time and done, but at least for the time being, it will give you an idea of where the best to spend your money and your time.
Yeah, and I think like on top of that, something that works really well is that if you are creating any piece of content, so for example, when we create a podcast episode, or maybe like we are actually working on this like panel discussion today, right? So the marketing team or the membership team will have to spend some time on creating content. I think nowadays it's a no-brainer, right? So like members do expect associations to create content, high value content that the members can actually like benefit from. But the way to do that will be invest in the core content once. So for example, if you have a webinar with a high profile speaker, then maybe spend 1 hour or maybe even more to create the first webinar. And then while you're creating that webinar, create additional marketing pieces to go alongside with that. So from one 1 hour webinar, you can create like two or three video clips. You can create screenshots. You can take the ideas from that one webinar and then like create a social post, right? So I think like what we want to do is that like we want to have influencers and like communities like to kind of like be the spark for you for ideas, right? So like they will spark the ideas, but then like once you are there, once you hold that event, once you do that, use it in many different ways, right? And that's what we do in our company as well. So that's number one. So create the big piece of content once, and then like repurpose it as much as you can, like in like several different formats. Now, another thing like to go along with that is that no matter how small an association you are, I think you can market. You have to find a creative way. So I was talking to one association, I think like last year, or I can't remember when, and they were saying that like they are a staff of three people, but then like even then they are very active and they do a lot of marketing for their members overall, for their prospective members. I'm like, okay, you are just three people. How do you do so much? And they said we have a very creative approach. And what they did is that they actively partner with other industry like providers. For example, they partner with a marketing company to do their marketing, and they are not paying the marketing company at all, but the marketing company is kind of like benefiting by putting their logo and their branding in a lot of the communication. They cut a deal with them, right? So you can kind of like bring in sponsors like that, and then like get some work done with them. You can invite volunteers. You can create a group of volunteers who can kind of like contribute to different areas of your marketing in general, right? So I think overall, like if you want to do it, if you kind of like create a structure, and if we invite different volunteers or partners or industry like sponsors overall, there are many creative ways of getting it done. It's a matter of just like finding the right way in general.
Yes, it's interesting how you mentioned the influencers, the volunteers, and the partners. But I think often the members themselves are also they're not also given as much attention as they should be. So we have like in an ideal state, your members would act like ambassadors for your association. So we have a question here from Angie, and she's asking, like, how can associations get there? Like, how do you encourage existing members to recruit new members for your association?
I've always struggled with that. I think that there are certain associations where the members really want to participate in that way. And there are other associations where they don't. And it's not that they're selfish. It's not that they're, just in it for them. It's just that that's not why they're at the association. If they are, if they happen to run into somebody that they feel is a good fit, then they might mention it. But that's not how they want to, that's not how they want to interact with the association. So I think the first thing is to understand your membership and to know what their desires are. And maybe it's even just a segment of your membership that wants to be sort of an influencer and to talk to other people or be an ambassador, whatever you want to call it. And then if that's the case, then give those individuals or companies, and ultimately even at companies, it becomes the individuals at the companies, give them some tools so that it makes it easy for them. You don't want them to have to come up with an elevator speech or, for your association, right? You need to help them with that. You need to give them that. If they're meeting lots of prospects or, companies that might be interested or individuals that might be interested, and in person, then provide them with some print materials that they can hand the person, those kind of things, or a business card or whatever it might be. But I think that the key is knowing, first step is to know either if your membership in general is interested in sort of being an ambassador or a spokesperson, which I say that lightly, or, forwarding information or sort of being, getting the word out there about your organization. And if not the entire association, then maybe there are segments, and identifying that segment and bringing those people in, whether it's on a member committee or a membership outreach committee or something like that, and have them play that role. And then what's really important, if you do identify that folks are interested in that, is then provide them with some information, provide them with the tools that they will need to do that. And then sort of underlying all that, I think we are in an interesting place now, and we have been for a while just because of technology. Ask those people to participate in your communities. Ask those people that are interested to, be experts in the field. And also, and then if there are not your own private communities, but if there's a LinkedIn community that's talking about your topic that you cover or your industry that you cover, ask them if they'd be willing to not promote you, but mention you and talk about and tell the story of how they've benefited from being a member of your association when it's appropriate, right? You don't want it to feel like, and they as members don't want it to feel either like, here comes blatant promotion, and it's sort of like conversation about a topic related to an industry. And all of a sudden it's, oh, by the way, I'm a member of blah, 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 you should join. And it's like, where did that come from? So, but I think that it actually has become a little bit easier to have members act on your behalf, but you have to suggest it to them. I mean, that's another key piece is you need to identify folks, and then you need to suggest to them, hey, would you be willing to that? And then if they need any assistance doing that, then as the association, you can provide that assistance.
Yeah, to add to that, I guess I am a big believer of organic marketing. And then Lydia, you notice that I try to shy away from paid ads as much as I can and try to stay organic as much as possible. So, and I think there is a lot of opportunities for associations to invest in organic marketing with their current members. So first of all, I guess you need to get your current members to volunteer in different projects or activities that the association is having right now, right? So by inviting your members to volunteer, you kind of increase the engagement with the members overall, right? And then while the members are participating in the different committees or different communities of practice, and just like Scott said, you need to make sure you make that very public. So for example, if the committee had a meeting today, right? If it is Zoom or in-person meeting, take a selfie, post on social, let all the participants reshare on their social, right? Whenever there's something happening, whenever you have a key event, take pictures, take videos, take short nuggets of all the success stories, whatever is happening, and be very social about it. Promote all of that in social and include some of those in your newsletters, your email blasts to your members as well. I think the best way to let your members be the ambassadors is to share their success stories, like share their wins. And we actually have a lot of wins in our lives nowadays. We just like don't like dig deep into them and don't look at them and don't share them. I think it's very important for associations to kind of like dig deep and see like what great work is the committee doing today, right? And who are the key people that we can probably highlight on the next newsletter? Who can we promote on social media? So I think like that is very important. And this is like very organic marketing. Like no one is like promoting anyone. We're just like sharing a win, sharing a success story that we just had. I'll give you a quick example. So whenever we our company like hold any workshop with our clients, right? So we probably have like up to like 4 people taking part in the workshop. We always take a picture at the end of the workshop, like everyone with a thumbs up, big smile, right? And then we tell our client to kind of like share it with everyone on their social. So, and like we are not promoting anyone there. We just had a great workshop. Everyone is happy. We took a picture. We promoted that on social. I think like more social sharing, like more like client stories like that will actually go a long way for associations. And that way you're not being salesy, you're not pushing anything. If a friend of that member sees that, oh, he's part of that association, meaning, and he's doing great work, should I join? At least the friend of that person will be curious. They'll click on a link and maybe like check out the association, right? And then like see what fun they're missing out on. So I think sharing is very important nowadays.